Welcome back. So for this video, we are going to talk about logo design, and I'm going to introduce the whole concept of logo design to you, and we're going to walk through some different examples. So let's go ahead and jump in. First thing, I know it might be pretty basic, and you may be sitting there thinking, okay, I know what a logo is. I see them all the time. But if you're going to really fully design your own logo, starting from scratch like we are, then you really need to understand exactly what a logo can be. So here's a definition. A logo is a graphic mark, an emblem, a symbol, or a stylized name. So those are just some examples of what logos can be. It can include the name, it can be a symbol, it can be an emblem, it can be some combination. No matter what it is, it's used to identify a company, organization, product, or brand. And so in our case, it's used for us to design what will be our brand that you've already created. Now, logos may take form of an abstract or figurative design. That's pretty common because it's a little simpler. Or it may present as a stylized version of a company's name, where you have the actual name there. So that it has sufficient brand recognition. And that is a really big part of your logo. That's why we have it, so that instead of us all just writing whatever our company's name is on everything and whatever font or text we choose, we have it so it's really recognizable. We have the same logo, emblem, symbol, whatever it is, posted, even maybe in different forms, but it always is recognizable so that people don't even have to read what the word is. They just automatically know what it is. And then over time, they're going to connect that brand or that logo to that brand. So here are just some, specifically social media logos, because those are ones that tend to be pretty popular and very effective. We see these everywhere, and even with just these tiny little circles or this little square shape that might be a camera, this F, a bird, we immediately know what all of these things are. But if you look at it, none of them actually say the name. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't have to actually say the name. And if you do a really great job with your branding and with your logo, then eventually you get to the point to where you absolutely don't need it anymore. When we first start out, having the name is very helpful. And so logos are evolving always over time. So here's an example of logos evolving, starting with Coca-Cola in 1886. To me, that pretty much looks like what I originally described, as somebody just wrote Coca-Cola on top of whatever that drink is, whether it be like a little glass bottle, or honestly, I don't know what they had in 1886. And then they start to get a little fancier in the 1900s as they have their first labels, and those labels evolve. They evolve and they get smarter. They get the color combination where it's the red and white. Sometimes it gets a little fancier, like in the 1990s, so it's following some trends, but it's still staying relevant and creative. Here's some other examples of how some logos have evolved and with the times. And so we're always trying to keep up to date with what is current in trends, just like we're looking for trends in fashion or trends in anything we're trying to sell. Trends within our branding and logo is going to help capture our customers. So as you can see from the Burger King, the first Burger King has the same concept. It's this red word, Burger King, king being really strong, a little bit larger, and it's inside of this burger. So it works. However, it's pretty simplistic, and we can make it a little more jazzy as we're evolving. And so what they've done is they've probably noticed that the red of the Burger King and the orange of the bun are really similar colors. So by using more contrasting colors, and in this case, all of the primary colors, more of a yellow with the red, and then a blue too to help it pop, you're gonna get a brighter logo with the same concept still in place. Just like with our apple is evolving over time. Our apple originally is rainbow, and you guys may not know this, but some of the the earliest Apple computers were these giant desktops, but the coolest thing about them is they all came in different colors, and nobody else had computers that came in different colors. And so it makes sense, it's relevant that you have this Apple logo that's rainbow. But then it's evolved to what we see now, which is now like the almost robotic looking Apple. And so when we think of Apple now, we probably think of it being cutting edge in technology, and so that feels relevant. Same thing with Starbucks. The original Starbucks one is, well, frankly, it's laughable. It's not that exciting. But then it's evolved over time to the point to where they don't even need the writing anymore. It's just recognizable. So I have 3 main tips as we're going through this that I want you to keep in mind when you go to design your logo for your brand. First thing, most importantly, simplify. Keep it simple. You can start with something a little more like you see with like the Instagram on the left, and that's a smart thing to start with. But as we move through and as you have a brand, you would simplify. So don't be afraid to take something and make it more abstract or reduce the different parts in your design. Tip number 2 is to make sure that it's relevant to your brand. So you should be choosing some kind of type or font that is going to be conducive to your brand. And so always consult your mood board. Here's the one that I'm going to use in my example. And so here's my mood board. It's called Safely Sweet. And so that's a company that I just came up with in my mind that's targeted towards young girls who struggle to keep their mask on. And the idea is that we have these little cute cloth masks that would be scented like strawberry lemonade, creamsicle, vanilla sprinkle cupcake. Those are all things that I feel like someone like my daughter would love. And maybe these cloth masks would come with like little essentially like essential oils that you could put inside of it, and it would have like a little extra padding near the nose to be able to hold that scent in there. And so hopefully we could keep the young kiddos mask on, and maybe they might even want to keep it on because it's going to smell so yummy. So this is what I came up with for my mood board. And if this is what I'm doing, then I'm obviously not going to all of a sudden have a red logo or a dark green logo. I'm obviously not going to just make something super formal because this is for kids and it's soft and it's sweet. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm looking for when I'm going to be designing my logo. Make sure it's relevant, always referenced. Tip number 3 is make it creative. And so with this, you can see some different logos, and this video is really short, so you should go back and look at this, but it's famous logos with hidden meanings. So Amazon has A to Z, FedEx has this little arrow in here. Each one of them has something to it that's really interesting and thoughtful and creative. And so this is a great example of logos that have just really stood the test of time and have things that are special about them. Another way to make sure that your logo is creative is to keep up with the times and the trends, because trends are always changing. So you don't want to do something that a lot of people did last year. You want to look towards the future and come up with different ideas. So here are links to, it's all the same article that has the top 10 logo design trends for 2021. These are some ones that I pulled from that article, but if I just start at the beginning and click on it, I can walk through stained glass, perspective, and it talks about each of these different major trends, these are really interesting divergent letters where it like creates the shirts or it creates things inside of it. I think those are really interesting. And so research this. These portraits, which we just did a portrait, are becoming very popular. So they're essentially simplified portraits. And so keep these trends and things in mind as you're working on yours, because hopefully they can inspire you and you can come up with something that's going to be cutting edge. Here's some more examples from there. All right, so quick recap. As you're creating your logo, always think simple, relevant, and creative. And have fun with it. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.